Story 1. Alcohol. I have been to rehabilitation 4 times, turned yellow twice, and quit a million times. At my peak, I was drinking a gallon of vodka a day. Today, I am 33 days sober and have never been more serious about my sobriety. Story 2. Bass, the musical type, not the fish. Edited for clarity. Story 3. Not gonna lie, but pizza. I eat it way too much. The rising crust ones always make me feel horrible the next day. Like I have a hangover. How is that possible? I think it's just too much white flour. Last year, it was Final Fantasy XI Online. It was so hard to pull myself away from that game. I was an active user since 2002 and started playing it on the PlayStation 2. Story 4. Alcohol. I did a dry January this year, and the first 2 weeks were absolute hell. I experienced monster headaches every morning that would last for hours. I knew I had been drinking a bit too much for years, but never expected withdrawals like that. It was quite enlightening. Story 5. Doom scrolling. Please help. I have deleted TikTok and have hidden all other social media on my phone so it will stop the habit. However, Twitter is also my news source, so I find myself stuck there. Story 6. Sugar and sweets. I am trying to cut down on them even though it is hard. Losing weight and living a healthy lifestyle motivate me to make the changes. Story 7. Addicted to opioids for 5 years from back surgery and a toxic upbringing. Today marks 2 years and 34 days clean. However, I still constantly struggle with temptation and depression, so I tend to cope with other substances, sadly. Story 8. Niche internet rabbit holes that lead me to accumulate a lot of information that is essentially useless in my daily life. Story 9. Cigarettes, Monster, crochet, and hyperfocusing on a totally irrelevant project while ignoring tasks that actually need to be done. Story 10. Picking at my skin. I have mostly stopped, but sometimes I relapse. I think it is a sort of coping mechanism to deal with stress. Story 11. A fried chicken place near where I live called Wingy. I need to go there once a week, or I lose my mind. It's so good and very cheap. Story 12. Cold turkey stopped nicotine after 5 years of use, alcohol after 2 years of abuse, gambling for 2 years, porn since I was about 9, and cannabis, which wasn't an addiction, but I used it pretty consistently since I was 16, totaling 6 years. I stopped all of them on the 14th of January with one slip up on the porn aspect. I'm back in the gym powerlifting again and getting addicted to that quickly. The thought of stopping these addictions was way more daunting than actually quitting. If you're trying to quit, don't think, how am I going to do this? I can't. Think, I used to do this. I used to be okay without it, and I will be okay without it again. That mindset made it all 10 times easier. Edit. And video games, I haven't touched them since the 5th of January. I feel that has probably made the biggest impact on my mental clarity. Story 13. Nicotine. I quit smoking and started using vapor products 10 years ago. The vapor products are much harder to quit than cigarettes. Story 14. My phone. I want to live without it, but I just can't go anywhere without it. It bothers me, especially with my work being on call. I would like to just put it down or lock it away. Story 15. Food. I wish nobody could experience binge eating disorder. I have suffered with this for 16 years, and it is difficult. Story 16. I was a sex addict. I still enjoy it a lot, but I am now more controlled, healthy, and no longer messing up relationships. Story 17. Food. Did 3 months of total dietary replacement and was absolutely fine because it was cold turkey, no food at all. I lost 3.5 stone and my diabetes went into remission. I came off of it and I have been like a drug addict since I tasted food again. Just binge eating when I am stressed or depressed, even as my brain tells me I am killing myself. All the weight has gone back on and I need medication for my diabetes again. I am so sick of hearing eat better, eat more vegetables, eat less sugar, blah blah blah. I know that, but I literally can't sleep if the nagging voice is in my head telling me I want food, and it's the only common addiction you can't go cold turkey on long term. Story 18. Doom scrolling. I have dissociative identity disorder, and my dominant alter's preferred substance is rage. It used to be crystal meth, but when I put that down, I discovered a severe anger management problem. Some of my different personalities have their own types of obsessions. I just use Alcoholics Anonymous for all this junk. Story 19, my phone, food, and cannabis. I have quit cannabis a few times, so I know it is possible for me. Just like alcohol, I have not had a drink in about 3 months. Story 20. Reddit is the only thing that I just can't stop doom scrolling, even in the face of negative consequences. Story 21. Social media, for sure. It often makes me feel mentally drained and consumes an enormous amount of time, but it's hard not to get that desire to reach for your phone when you're just sitting around. Story 22. Oh, I can totally relate. I am addicted to binge watching my favorite shows on weekends. It is just so hard to resist when there is a new season out. Story 23. Call of Duty. Not gaming in general, but Call of Duty. It is the only game I play, and even when it is not good, I am still logging in. Story 24. Scrolling through Reddit and watching YouTube. My only motivation to study is the 5 to 10 minutes of YouTube I allow myself to watch after every hour. Story 25. TikTok. I had to actually set up a daily time limit on my phone for this app because I can't control myself. Story 26. Doom scrolling, among other things, but I don't know what else to do to calm my anxiety. I would like to replace it with my other hobbies, such as music and drawing, but sometimes even my hobbies frustrate me, so just doing the easy things calms me. I know it's not healthy, but I don't know what else to do. Story 27. Currently, dating applications are the internet version of hell, but I keep swiping. There are so many pointless conversations, hopes up, hopes down. I have been deceived online twice and dodged a few major bullets. Story 28. Currently addicted to gemstones, particularly moissanite. Aside from that, my newest fixations are on replica goods and vintage fur coats. Story 29. Scavenger hunts at thrift stores. It's always fun to walk in not knowing what you will find. I always thought it would be fun to help volunteer to sift through donations, but there are some horror stories out there. Story 30. Currently, online shopping is a source of comfort. I am going through a depressive phase right now. The thought of having a package on the way makes me at least a little happier. I know it is not a good solution, but sometimes you take the joy in any way you can. Story 31. I was addicted to sugar so much that I developed type 2 diabetes, but now I can say I have kicked the sugar addiction and have nearly gotten rid of the diabetes. Now I say I am addicted to my cats. They are the best decision I have ever made. Story 32. No joke, I'm addicted to my girlfriend. We've been together for 2 years now, but I'm just craving her emotionally, mentally, and physically all the time. Story 33. Cannabis. I just completed my first 5 days clean in preparation for the end of the world or fighting a war. I can't be dependent in a crisis. Story 34. Alcohol. In a high-functioning capacity, I have 8 pints of Stella and a large bottle every day after work, and I know I should stop, but I just can't until I run out of money 10 days before I get paid. As soon as I get paid, I start the cycle again. It has made me so ill and miserable. I know it's all my own fault. Story 35. Weed. I don't know if it's an addiction, habit, or safety net. I really want to give it up. It just allows me to downplay my problems. However, it has kept me in the same spot for 6 years, and I don't want to smoke anymore. Story 36. I scrolled through and didn't find pickleball, though I was expecting to find it mentioned more than once. It is a fun and enjoyable pastime, but the number of people who say, it's addicting, is astonishing. I hear it time and time again. Story 37. Coca-Cola. I have had experiences with alcohol and self-harm, and I have not really been addicted to any of those negative coping mechanisms. However, I cannot stop drinking Coca-Cola. It has gotten better recently because now I can barely finish one Coca-Cola, and I share it with my Coca-Cola addicted partner, but we still have to have at least one a day. Story 38. Earl Grey tea, I have to drink it every day or I feel anxious that I haven't. Yes, I have a problem, but at least it is not an addiction that could kill me. Story 39. Playing modded Minecraft is a serious addiction. You will be cooking food and thinking about how to optimize a farm. Story 40. The sensation of freedom. I have been dealing with a lot of stress, medical issues, and debilitating problems from the age of 18 to today at 24, and it has only gotten worse. Every time I get the chance to do something new, different, or intense, I feel as though my problems disappear and I can just relax. Luckily, I experience this rush from traveling and activities rather than from drugs, so I am grateful for that at least. Story 41. It was TikTok, but after the ban, I knew it had been bought by the current administration, so I deleted it completely. Now, I am watching Arrested Development and Criminal Minds. Story 42. Was addicted to methylphenidate for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder for 10 years. Took the last pill in October 2023. For the first time since I was 18, I am addicted to nothing. Story 43. A stuffed animal I was given when I was 7 years old was shaped like a worm and was almost as long as I was tall. Story 44. 1. Making sure the tensile strength of my shoelaces is even. I also strive to walk differently on hardwood than on carpet. Ensuring the light in the refrigerator goes off each time I shut the door. Making lists. Story 45. Just weed. But I try to not scrounge around for money when I am out of it. It keeps me a little grounded to the extent where I can process that I will be fine without it, even under the stress of minor withdrawal symptoms at times. Story 46. Sugar is in so much food that it is hard to avoid. I also eat maybe a bit too much ice cream and candy. Story 47. Like most people these days, my phone, and especially social media, is ever present in my life. I know it is bad for me, and I recognize that it is a significant factor in my mental health struggles. However, I cannot help but constantly check and scroll. I recently created something and shared it on my social media accounts, and now I am obsessed with the reactions and engagement, even though it is not even real, which makes me feel more depressed. I miss the days when the internet was not a constant presence in our lives. Story 48. I would probably say I am addicted to overthinking. I cannot help it, whether it is relationships, work, or even random conversations. My mind just keeps running through every possible scenario, often making things way more complicated than they need to be. It is like a mental hamster wheel that is hard to stop. It is exhausting but oddly satisfying in a strange way. Do you have any habits that you cannot shake, even if you know they are not the best for you? Story 49. My baby's giggles. I would do all legal and several illegal things to get him to laugh. Luckily, I haven't had to resort to the illegal things yet. It just sounds like pure joy, and I love it. Story 50. I was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder at 29. I received a prescription for a methylphenidate-based medication, which is commonly known by the brand name Ritalin. I used it as prescribed at first, and it helped significantly with many of my symptoms. I was particularly impressed by how well it reduced my anxiety. Speaking of anxiety, with a diagnosis this late in life, I have developed obsessive-compulsive disorder, avoidant behaviors, and trauma-based anxiety, which is likely complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Although I do not have an official diagnosis yet, it aligns more closely with the symptoms than both attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and obsessive-compulsive disorder. I assure you, I have generally suffered from anxiety disorders since I was 14, which started when I was bullied at school. Eventually, I came across benzodiazepines as I had to. I was prescribed Xanax and quickly became seriously addicted. I am now 3 years clean from chronic benzodiazepine use, but what if I had received Ritalin at, say, 15 years old? It reduces addiction rates in individuals affected by attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. As for methylphenidate, I later contracted a mild COVID-19 infection. I experienced clogged sinuses and some sweats for 2 weeks, but then it was gone. However, it has been 4 years, and I am always tired. Given that methylphenidate is a stimulant, which is also used in treating narcolepsy due to its nature, there is no way for me to get through the day without it now. I also tend to use a higher dosage than prescribed. I was prescribed 56 milligrams per 24 hours, but on tougher days, I can increase it to 80 milligrams or even 100 milligrams if the fatigue becomes really bad. This is alongside a strong coffee. Without caffeine in my system, it is not as effective. Thankfully, I take a beta blocker, propranolol, for somatic anxiety symptoms, which helps keep my heart somewhat safe. I hate how I cannot even be honest with doctors. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is manageable without Ritalin, but the fatigue is absolutely not, and it is so much more debilitating than attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Also, nobody cares to hear that you are tired all the time at 31. People often say to get some fresh air, exercise, eat well, or that you are too young to complain. They say to grow up. Story 51. Alcohol. Day 2 without it, and I am miserable. I have heard that after 3 days it gets easier, and after 3 weeks a new habit will take its place. Feels like forever away. Story 52. Tarot readings searching for life answers right now. I got ghosted. They say he is going to call, but it has been 6 months. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.